everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, but today we are reviewing episodes 17 and 18 of Masterchef Season 13, and it was like torture, which is what we thought it would be, to watch these two episodes. They are racing to the finish because this was a restaurant takeover, and the next episode is a semifinal. So we are racing to the end. In fact, next week is the finale. So, what to say?
The first episode I thought was very good. It was hilarious. It was really, really good because it was nice to see, because Hell's Kitchen, for me, like, that show really wears you out if you watch that whole show at once. But it was really cool to see, like, just this one episode in Hell's Kitchen and just, like, one episode like that show. Because, like, it felt very refreshing and you know, different. And something that was really funny about it was the fact that you had these three chefs, and they stuck out like a sore thumb that they were not worthy of being there. They stuck out as being out of place. And, like, you know, once again, this season, the running theme has been they send the good chefs home, they keep the bad chefs, and then they kind of stand around like, oh, why are the chefs so bad? It's because you sent all the good ones home. And this one in particular, I guarantee that suicidal girl from the Northeast would have killed this competition, this fucking Hell's Kitchen challenge. But instead you have, first off, let's just go over the three chefs because it's pretty obvious who they are. Like, you couldn't even make an argument that, like, oh, well, that guy was honestly weak too. Like, no. It was very clear. First off, Karen did not deserve to be there.
That's Jennifer from Arkansas, who has 6 children. And unbelievably, she did not mention them during this episode.
Or the next one, which was surprising. I thought she was going to say, like, oh, I can handle Hell's Kitchen because I have 6 kids. And then I thought the next episode she was going to be like, I can handle this challenge because I have 6 kids.
Which is what she's done during the entire season. Every episode. Except for these two.
Well, right off the bat.
Off the bat. I mean, right at the beginning, which I've never seen it before.
That's what that saying was created for, Sophie. That's what it means.
Believe it.
Right off the bat.
It was shocking to me.
She burns the rice for the risotto. Now, if you guys don't know, when you make risotto, you gotta toast the rice before you cook it. And the first mistake of the night was her burning the risotto, which it's like, why would they let her be on risotto after she did such a terrible job earlier in the season? It just seemed like, really? Like, were you guys not there when she made that green pepper risotto?
Yeah, it was gross. And she said, she complained the reason why the pan was, so hot was that it was the quality of Chef Ramsay's dishware. It was so good that she wasn't clear on how to cook with it. And I thought, my God, I have never heard an excuse like that in my life.
And it was so funny. He's like, why is it burnt? And she's like, because it's hot.
I can see like, if it was a cooking utensil she'd never seen before and didn't know how to use. But a pan? Really? I couldn't believe it.
She's like, it's hot. The pan is too hot. And he's like...
He was freaking out.
And it's
he
like...
was holding his hands to his face.
This is what I mean, guys. Like, what did they expect keeping that Karen this late in the game? She should have gone home weeks and weeks ago.
Now, she's very inconsistent. I mean, when she makes... She's like either pretty good or she's completely the opposite. and this was what you would call completely the opposite. So.
Well, she just, like, there's this typical stereotype in MasterChef, it seems, where they find what they think is like an attractive blonde woman, and a middle-aged blonde woman, and she's really inconsistent, but they keep her anyways because they find her attractive. Like, that's what it seems like every single time. Like, and I predicted that. Like, I told you guys, like, remember that last one they had, the interrogator woman that they kept in the finale, and then they brought her back for the Back to Win season. Like, they have some sort of a weird fixation on, like, this stereotype, like this middle-aged blonde who Joe can look at the whole episode. Like, that's what they look for in a Master Chef.
Yes. And then they had the Alabama girl, Sav.
And I thought she was the worst, but she was the one where it was like, you kind of felt bad because she literally looked like a MasterChef junior and acted like one, and it just felt like she shouldn't have been there to begin with. Like, she was long overdue to be sent home. And so, like, her doing bad wasn't a surprise, and it was like, you know, it's kind of like,
She had been floating for weeks. Remember, we told you that she was one, and like it went on for weeks where they might have showed her face or her head bent down cooking, but they never featured her cooking either good or bad. So she was able to float through. And the only time she started, like, showing up in a positive way, well, that was at the very beginning. But when she was on a group challenge or a pairs challenge, because she did that at least twice, and that always turned out really good, right? It was 2 times.
Yeah, and in this episode, though, it was so painful.
It was.
It was amazing. It was like just classic fail.
And she looked very upset.
Yeah, the whole episode, she was going to cry.
She said, "This is not my home kitchen back in the barn." I'm like, so she was complaining too, in a way.
That was really funny.
The kitchen was too, quote, fancy for her to work in. It was like Jennifer was complaining about the cookware. This girl was complaining about the quality of the kitchen. How good it was.
That might be one of the funniest lines we've ever heard in MasterChef history. This isn't my home kitchen back in the barn.
And that's exact quote, because I couldn't believe it. So anyway, I mean, they did. Well, do you want to talk about the other?
No, I'm going. We're going through them, like, you know, profiling each one how bad they were.
Okay.
You know, the 3 that stuck out that should have gone home a million years ago. Yeah. She just did terribly. She couldn't cook jack shit
all the way through.
And then what happened was Grant felt really sorry for her. He was the captain, and you know, you could tell he was really upset too, and he let her do the plating, basically to protect her and to hide her away. Like, oh, you don't have to cook this round in the entree round. You can just do plating, and she couldn't even do that. She couldn't even tell, like, what temperatures the meats were. You know, she had a terrible time with that too. So she got fucked up this whole episode. It was amazing. But then again, Karen did equally as bad. But, you know, Karen, you know, they find her more attractive, so they kept her. And then on the winning team, which you guys can already tell, the team with those 2 did not win. We knew that from, like, the very opening. So the other team...
And that was the red team.
The other team had this one chef who... She has been long overdue to get sent home. Like, really, really, like, wow, I don't know why she's still there. The woman from New Orleans...
Who floated through like Sav for weeks.
She did terribly as well, but she did... The only thing that I could say is that she did come back a little bit, and she fixed some of her mistakes, but she was doing pretty badly at certain points. You know, there was this one, one of the funniest things. She sent out a risotto, and she had a little bit left in the pan, and she was like, you know, why can't I just use some of this risotto with the new risotto that I make or something? Or she's like, no, why can't I just use this?
Which is what people would do at home,
yeah.
basically.
And Chef Gordon was like, excuse me? You have to make a new risotto. Are you disrespecting me in my Hell's Kitchen? And she was like, oh, it was hilarious. Like, she disrespected Chef Gordon
And he
because
had a nervous breakdown.
he's like, I have to do that? I have to make a new risotto? And she's like, bitch, this is what we do in restaurants.
Yeah. And you just don't question Chef Ramsay at all. And that was, I almost thought, you know, he would even send her home for that.
I was kind of worried because I didn't want that team to lose because they did so well. I mean, they practically had a flawless service.
And you know what happened? Do you know what Chef Ramsay did? Especially on the was it just on the appetizers?
I think so.
They were doing so well. And they were getting their they were done way before the red team. He got some of their appetizers and put them on the red team's plates.
Well, yeah,
like they didn't have anything done.
They got the garnishes and stuff done, but they didn't get the meat cooked. So the blue team lent their scallops and their lobster to the red tables.
Yep.
So that they could eat.
I've never seen that before either. So I took a couple of firsts for me.
Let's just say this. If this was a Hell's Kitchen episode, he would have shut down the red team's kitchen halfway through the episode. Like it was just so classic and so fun because it was a perfect demonstration. Like anyone, even if you're fans of these people who don't deserve to be there at all, you know, you can look at this episode and be like, yeah, this is exactly what Marco has been saying. This just shows, like, perfectly these people do not deserve to be there. Like, yeah, they've done good once in a while, but they're not good enough to be at this level in Masterchef.
Well, it was so obvious who did not belong there. I mean, they stood out like sore thumbs. For me, it was very uncomfortable to watch because usually in MasterChef, they'll have, especially in this restaurant challenge, which they always have near the end, I believe, and there'll be a mistake or two, but they get better, and it all kind of evens out at the end.
That's not what always happens in Hell's Kitchen. Most of the time, they just kind of stay the same because, you know, that week the team will lose.
Yeah, but in this, in MasterChef, it's usually a little bit different. And they were bad the whole way through.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
And it was so bad that at the end, I think all of them were crying.
They were, even Grant. And Grant was doing fine. I mean, he couldn't do the work for them. They had to do something. I mean, it was a team. So, I mean, he couldn't do the whole thing by himself. So, in fact, Chef Ramsay threatened to take his captainship, which, what difference would that have made?
That would have just made it worse.
Yeah, because who can take over?
Karen.
Karen.
I have 6 kids, so I can manage 2 adults. That's what she'd say.
Yeah, she didn't say that. That's what she would probably say.
Now, I would give the episode... Well, also, we should mention Wayne, who's been the best competitor, easily.
He's improved so much from
He is that person who you think of as a master chef, especially in this episode where he was literally the master. He took over and he just completely, like... He was a captain and a leader, you know, probably because he does it at work at home.
Right.
At his normal job, And so, like, he did such a good job being a master chef. You know, it was like, wow, he's really sticking out. Like, he's going to be the winner of the show, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. And they did good, really, for the most part.
Yeah.
There was just a couple little incidents with Reagan.
Yeah, she struggled with the steak, and then she struggled with the lobster at the beginning, which she's allergic,
So I gave her a pass for that because I was shocked that they would do that to her. Because
in fact, in the second round, they were talking about who should cook the salmon and the steak, and she's like, I'm allergic to fish, and he's like, oh, that's an easy choice. You have to cook the steak, and, you know, she was struggling with the steak, and then,
did one
which,
too rare one.
There was this stupid thing where there was this pretentious ass old bitch in the crowd. I'm sorry, but this bitch needs to get called out. Like, she was so pretentious and like she looked like an elementary school teacher who never got told off. She had her steak, and she's like, my steak is not medium rare. It's rare. It's one temperature under. That's unacceptable. And it's like, bitch, it's a fucking steak. It's cooked. It's just because it's rare. Like, it just because it's not medium rare. Like, God, just to say, like, every steak has to be medium rare is just stupid. Like,
it just drives me crazy.
It'd be one thing, like, I don't understand how it works at this restaurant. Do you have to order medium rare?
Or do they just bring it and you don't even have a choice?
Yeah, like, how does it work? Because
I don't know.
If she didn't personally ask for medium rare, then she should shut the fuck up about the temperature of the steak.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've been to plenty of restaurants, and I always have to tell what kind of steak it has to be.
Yeah.
They always ask you.
Medium.
I kind of like medium well.
Medium or medium well.
And
thank you.
It's always these chefs on TV, medium rare, medium rare, medium rare. It's like a recording. Hello, medium rare. I mean, you know, and it really wasn't that bad compared to what was going on the other side in the red team.
Well, there was also the thing where Wayne was starting to get flustered like he usually does, and he burnt himself twice. And that was really funny because he made funny faces again. He was like, ah, ah. He was starting to get like really upset and like wound up, and
he burned himself back in the kitchen too. Back at the place, the studio.
Yeah.
He burned himself at least 3 or 4 times.
Well, he really goes hardcore because he's the one who's master chef. You know, he's not like a Sav where she's like, this isn't my kitchen back in the barn.
Yeah. I swear she said that.
Yeah, that was just
and I swear Jennifer said that about the cookware. That freaks me out. I couldn't believe it.
That's why I give this episode A+. It was just classic, hilarious, perfect demonstration of the fact that those 3 didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah, well, I hate to even give it that because it was for me it was uncomfortable to watch because we had already talked about at this stage of the game who was really weak.
And
shouldn't be there.
And I knew it was going to be like this. Like, it's not surprising. Like, you keep the bad chefs, you get an episode like this.
And that they just kept doing badly. They didn't improve. And I've just never seen anything like that. Usually it gets better. And it wasn't. It never did. And it was just terrible. And they all cried. It was awful.
It was funny.
I didn't like it.
I was glad because...
Well, it's not Grant's fault that he got stuck with these 2 losers.
It was his fault that he wasn't a better captain, though. He was not a good team captain either. Like, the thing with...
He should have checked for we call it. We've seen this too.
No, that's
quality control.
No, that's what Sav was supposed to do in the second part.
He should have supervised her a little bit,
He couldn't do that. He had too much to do.
I know. That's what I mean. He couldn't do everything for them. That's why they were there and so far along in the competition.
Yeah, but that thing with
able to handle it.
He even said like, I'm trying to be like a dad to her, and he protected her and hid her away by putting her on the plating. Like, that was such a mistake. Like, you know, he should have just said, you stay on the entree, on the meat, and I will keep on doing the plating. And I don't know, like, I don't even know, like, I don't know how to captain that team. Like,
that's what I said.
It's a terrible team. It's like, it's like that thing when you have trading cards and you buy a new package of trading cards and you look inside and you just have a bunch of crappy cards that you don't want. And it's like, what do I do with these? Throw them in the trash? These Pokemon cards? No. These weak little Pokemon cards? Like, these aren't the epic rare cards or whatever. Like, no. Like, I don't know what you do with that. Like, it's like... but at the same time, like, it was really the judge's fault, because if they had kept the suicidal girl and that other guy, I guarantee they would have done this competition with flying colors.
Well, I think they would have done better, but who knows?
They would have done really
good.
Bryn
would have done well, because she's used to working in like a bar, restaurant type of place.
Yeah.
So she's used to that.
Like, now, basically, they drove that Sav girl to near suicide this episode. Like, that's what it was like. It was like, at the end of the episode, it's good that, you know, she stopped crying, because, you know, it's like she was about to jump off a cliff.
Nah, she'll go home and drink her lemonade and sit on the porch.
No, she'll cook in the barn.
Go cook in the barn.
She'll make moonshine.
No. But, and that's not to put her down. She was a very nice girl, but she just didn't belong there.
I went to Harvard, and
she
now
did go to Harvard, which is amazing.
And now I make moonshine in my barn.
She never said that. We're just teasing.
I was on Masterchef once. They kept me too long, so I did really badly in my last episode.
Yeah. So I guess, I got
maybe I should have competed in MasterChef Junior where I belong.
I guess I'll give it a B. I just thought it was really uncomfortable, but it was good at really illustrating who didn't belong there. It's really painfully illustrated that. Okay, let's go to the next episode. Let's go to the next episode, which was the semifinals. They were back at the Hell's Kitchen. They were back at the studio.
And there was that funny shit with the Hell's Kitchen where they were like saying, "This is not the MasterChef kitchen," like at the beginning. Remember that? No. Like, they were really surprised it was like Hell's Kitchen. Like, they're like, "This is Hell's Kitchen." Like, wow. And I can just tell, like, with Chef Gordon, like, everything with him is about, like, self-promotion. Like, we have to have, like, 10 shows.
Because guess what? What's coming on right after this?
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen.
So basically, this was like a trailer for Hell's Kitchen. And honestly, I don't know if I want to watch Hell's Kitchen ever again, just because, like, you get so worn out by each episode. It's like this. And, like, this episode was good, but it's like, I don't want to watch that for 20 episodes. Kinda. Like, but it might be good to review, I guess. I don't know.
I don't want to.
Oh, I don't know.
Like watching it. I don't like watching it.
I don't like it.
The people who, at least when I was watching it, and it could not be true now.
There's a lot of bullying.
A lot of smoking.
There's a lot of sabotaging and
how do you know what you're cooking?
Immature behavior and
sabotage.
Gross people who just aren't likable at all, and like that. Like, watching Hell's Kitchen is like having to watch a show like with all Jennifers on a team, like just a bunch of Jennifers. Like, no, thank you. Like, even like in the seasons that I watched, like, whoever would win, I would be like, ew, that person won? Like, ew.
Wow. Okay,
Ew.
well, now we're on to episode 18, and it is
This episode
semifinal.
sucked. It just sucked really badly. Like,
Okay, so, well, who's left here? We have Jennifer, Grant, Wayne, Reagan, Kennedy. I think that's it, right? And
I suffered a crisis this episode because I thought about, 2 people are only going home this episode. That means that one of these...
No, tonight, out of both episodes. Right? One from last episode and one from this episode.
No, Safi, 2 people get sent home, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. God.
I thought because 2 people are getting sent home, there is a higher chance somehow that one of those shitty chefs who doesn't deserve to be there is going to be in the finale.
Yep.
Reagan or Karen.
Yep.
And I was right, spoiler alert. And so the first challenge was about making your own ravioli with a special pasta that you're assigned to.
And they didn't know what it was. They had to uncover it themselves. And so they go up to and they take off the top. And Jennifer got a red beet pasta dough. Grant got a squid ink, which is interesting because he's from Iowa. That's not exactly something that you can get there. Wayne had a saffron pasta dough. Reagan had a spinach pasta dough, and Kennedy had a plain pasta dough.
Yeah, Kennedy had the easiest one, and she still did terribly. Safi's master crush. So, I didn't really think this was that entertaining. In general, I thought this semifinal was garbage. I felt like, what's the deal with now? It's like a tradition for the semifinal to include that thing where you have to cook along with Gordon. It's like another self-promotion for Gordon. Like, I'm the ultimate master chef and you have to cook along with me. It's like, why couldn't it be a Ron one year? Like, what about making tacos with the Ron?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty hard. Like, they'd all go home. He'd be like, you guys aren't Mexican enough. You did not make correct taco. Like my favorite master chef, Cesar. Remember Cesar?
Yeah, how could I forget?
Because he was fucking Aaron's teacher's pet. Yeah. Remember that thing? They were mentoring people.
He really wanted him to go. Oh yeah, that was right. They were mentoring them.
Yeah.
So they gave him extra help. This is true. This isn't something like favoriting somebody. This was like part of the season.
I kind of like that idea. I kind of like them doing that.
So each one, Aaron, Joe, and Chef Ramsay each had contestants that they were mentoring. So Aaron was mentoring
Cesar.
And anyway, the dough was already made. What they had to do is they had to run it through the pasta machine and make a noodle, and then make some kind of, I don't know, little ravioli.
A sauce.
And a sauce. And it had to be a Michelin star restaurant quality dish that they had to come up with.
Which is code for it has to be pretentious as possible. Which, by the way, Safi, this is a little side note, but this just sounds awful. Safi, Chucky season 3 is going to be taking place in the White House.
What?
And Chucky is going to be messing with the president in the White House.
Oh, God.
That's going to be the shitty story of Chucky season 3, apparently. And I just, when I read that, I was almost like, wow. And people are going to say it's really good. Because even though it's not.
Sounds like a disaster to me.
And so anyways, Karen did really good to them. And so she's going to get to skate by now. After they had her caught. They had her in a trap. They had the monster caught. When you have a monster caught, you get rid of the monster. You take it out. Like, You don't let it go so that it can go cause more chaos and torture people. Like, they had the monster last episode, and they let her stay. And now she did a good job with that pasta. You know, her once in a while inconsistent behavior.
It was like
and
really, and they said it was the best of all the pasta
so
dishes.
so now she gets to go. No, they said that Grant's was easily.
Oh.
So now she gets to skate by into the finale. Yay!
It did look really good, but
It-
I wouldn't eat any of
It
them.
it looked
I didn't
good
like it.
until she compared. She said that the dish was very feminine, which really grossed me out because she purposefully shaped the ravioli to look like female genitalia.
Oh, Marco, that's BS.
She
My
did!
God, she's from the South.
She did. She said it's a feminine dish. What do you think that
I
means?
think it had little flowers on it. I
No.
don't believe it.
She purposefully, guys, I'm not kidding.
No.
She shaped the ravioli like female genitalia, and I wanted to throw up.
I don't believe that. So I don't.
Watch it again.
No, I don't want to.
Well, look at the dish. It's
I just
just,
don't.
it's
To
gross.
me, to watch these episodes, it was like torture.
Safi, she said, I really love this dish because it's very feminine. And then I looked at the dish and I was like, oh my God. Oh.
Let's go. Keep going.
This is an anatomy class, Karen.
Okay, so what they...
Like, and didn't she have 6 of them too to represent the 6 kids who came out of her?
No, they had to have a certain amount.
I
didn't
think she had 6 ravioli to represent
yeah,
the 6
maybe.
children.
they? No. She had one. She had one. They all had one.
No, but she had 6 copies of it.
Oh, what, in case that one didn't work? Or
No,
something?
Safi, when you have ravioli, you eat multiple ravioli noodles. You just don't eat
agree,
one.
but it seems like they just have one.
No, I think she had 6, like her 6 children.
I don't think so.
You watch
I don't
that
wanna
part
watch
again.
Maybe.
With a new perspective of a man.
Okay, so Kennedy's dish, like I said, she has
did
her
the
ups
worst.
and downs,
She was the worst this episode.
and what happened was they told it had to be, which I just said already, a Michelin star restaurant quality dish. And so I think she got carried away with that, or got spooked by that Michelin star part. And so she decided to put
She had an uni sauce, a uni butter sauce,
yeah.
and caviar on top of the ravioli and that. And it's sad because it did look good to me. Like, it looked tasty.
Maybe that's
But
why she passed.
apparently it tasted terrible.
Very salty.
It was so overly salty, and so she did. But the thing is that, like, she did even worse because she had the easiest pasta.
She had plain pasta.
Like, fucking Wayne, he had stuffed pasta. He had the hardest one.
Yeah, and he kind of, he always does too much. And he's been able to get away with it because he's pretty good. And, like he could have been the master chef.
He should have been.
At least been in the finals. And, Wayne didn't have enough sauce. And you can't, I think it was, in fact, the both of the challenges they had for this show was highly dependent on a sauce. So if you didn't have enough sauce, it didn't bring the dish together.
Wayne's ravioli were not very flavorful, and he didn't have very much sauce.
So guess what?
But, well, you go ahead and say.
He went home.
Yeah, they sent the best chef home.
I was shocked.
And that was just like a slap in the face.
I mean, I like Kennedy, but I think she should have gone home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing against her. And I think she would have been fine with it. She would have understood.
And because here's the thing.
No, don't do it.
I wasn't going to talk about the fact that they kept her because she's lesbian, but I was going to say instead, you're the one who just brought it up. I was going to say instead, because that is probably why they kept her, if you guys don't realize.
I don't think so. I thought it was cool
because
that she
then
lived in a schoolie and only had schoolie bus.
She did a shitty job this episode. When you do a shitty job, you go home.
Well, I said that.
But they want to keep her so that they can possibly fulfill a quota. First lesbian master chef. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. But the thing is that just think about it this way. Number one, she had the easiest pasta. Wayne had the hardest. In comparison, he did a better job. Number two, which pasta dish would you rather have? Would you rather have a pasta dish where the pasta is submerged in a sauce that is gross and you can't take it off of the pasta? Or would you rather have a pasta with hardly any sauce and you could season it yourself? You could add salt, pepper, you could ask for more sauce to be brought out in like a bowl at a restaurant. Which dish would you rather have? I'd rather have the dish where the pasta isn't submerged in a sauce that I don't like, plus caviar.
Yeah. And I doubt if she is used to eating caviar.
Just look at it that way.
She lives in an effing schoolie. That's not something that people in schoolies and van life camping buy, is caviar.
Which would you rather have?
So far from it.
Would you rather have a hot fudge sundae where there's a cheesy spray sprinkled all over it sprayed all over it on top? Or would you rather just have all the hot fudge sundae ingredients so you can make it yourself? I'd rather have the other one because I wouldn't want cheese spray to be sprayed all over my sundae. Yeah. So the fact that she got to stay was just a slap in the face.
And she was really grateful, but she should have gone home.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't send Jennifer home because she had the second best dish. And Grant, who lives in Iowa, of all places, landlocked, not even close to the ocean, does a really good job with this gross squid ink pasta. They got the pasta. They could not change it. So they had to do whatever. And the dish that they made, that wasn't something they were told to do in exact terms. They had to make up their own dish to use with it. But it had to be something where they, run it through the pasta machine and make a little noodle thing.
Oh, yeah, and you forgot something too, Safi, with the Hell's Kitchen one. You forgot about the tomato garnish with the raw tomatoes on the vine on the plate.
Yeah, that was one little mistake. That Kennedy had forgotten what they did was with the lobster risotto, they had a garnish, and it was tomatoes. It was like cherry tomatoes, so they weren't cut. They were on the vine. Like, I think it was 3 of them on the vine, and they weren't apart. They were together. It was like somebody cut the vine or the stem off the branch with the 3 tomatoes hooked onto it, and that she forgot, and and they had to hurry up and get those together, and that's not the problem. The problem is they sent a chef home in an earlier episode, not too early. It was like an episode or 2 ago, who did the same thing on his dish, where he had the tomatoes on a little cherry tomatoes on a little vine, and didn't take them off, and he put them on the plate, and they had a fit.
Mm-hmm.
The chefs had a fit, and said, "Why did you do that?" And then Chef Ramsay does it in his own restaurant.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It was funny.
I think the guy got sent home.
I think
that episode.
Pretty bad.
Okay,
so then the second challenge was the stupid thing where you have to follow along Chef Gordon, and you could tell like it was so gay because he came out and he was just like smiling, just like he was getting ready to show off.
Yeah.
And then he started cooking this scallops dish. Was it another scallops dish?
Let's see. It was he had to make. Have any of you ever made cauliflower mashed potatoes? You cook cauliflower, and you don't have to cook it very long. You chop it up, you cook it, then you put it in the blender, and so for he was using it as a sauce. So I think he added some cream. So that was like a cauliflower sauce, and all they did with it was around the center of it was venison. And then they had a chocolate sauce that linked all the things around the venison. They're like little circles of, the cauliflower, little dots, dots, which they made all that cauliflower stuff to make a dot. And so all of that was chocolate sauce, of all things, around venison and cauliflower mashed potato sauce. That made the circle, connected all those circles around the venison. Then, the final thing, they might have had some kind of greens. I'm not positive. I don't have that. But they made a cherry sauce. Like kind of a thick, not real thick, because it had to be saucy. But not.
Oh yeah, it was venison with like a chocolate sauce.
And that had to be poured on the top of the venison. That was the dish. That was weird, but they had to follow him every step.
And of course, who did badly? Reagan and Karen.
Yeah, Reagan did the very, very worst.
Reagan and Karen.
Karen and Jennifer didn't even have the cauliflower sauce ready to put the dots on. And so Kennedy did it. She did really well.
And we were like, once again, here you go, and you keep these bad chefs. This is what happens.
So Grant and Kennedy did really well.
Did the best. And, let's just say at this point, Grant or Master Crush of yours, they're going to win. Either one of them is going to win. Karen, who they let skate by to the finale, like Dara, she's not going to win. And if she does, then that'll be a huge disgrace to Masterchef.
Well, I think Grant is going to win. Kennedy still just has her. She did do good on this. I mean, this was very hard to do, because you had to do it in the time. You had to do it exactly the way he's doing it, when he was doing, and you had to make all these different parts. The cauliflower sauce, the chocolate sauce, the venison, the cherry sauce, and there might have been one more thing with like a garnish, and I just can't think of it.
My ideal finale would have been Wayne, Safi's Master Crush, and the suicidal girl.
Oh. Well, anyway, but they only sent one person home, and that was Reagan.
Yeah,
so who are the
finally.
three finalists? Who are the three finalists?
Karen,
Jennifer, Kennedy, and Grant. So.
And you were really too. We should also mention, I will put my money on your Master Crush.
Oh, she's not my Master Crush.
And whoever, she is. And I saw you. I saw you when they revealed her and she didn't have her beanie on. You looked at her with a sparkly smile.
I was BSing.
And you said, "Ooh,
listen to the BS.
She looks like a pretty chef, not just a master chef." That's what you did, Sophie.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
He's
you
lying.
did. Yeah, you did.
Anyway, I'm not going to go.
And whoever loses the bet has to take a jelly bean.
No, I think Grant's going to win.
Oh, you'll be taking a jelly bean if you lose.
Be Jennifer. That's all I.
If it is Karen and we both have to take a jelly bean, I'm going to be super upset. You could be Old Bandage.
They did show some scenes. It did look like she might be doing good.
Old Bandage, liver and onions, booger, puke,
gross,
dirty dishwater,
oh God,
dead fish. I think they took, maybe stink bug might be in there. That's the worst one. Any one of those, you'll be taking it.
I wish they had sent, instead of having 3 semifinalists, I just wish they would have had,
You mean 3 finalists?
3 finalists. I just wish they would have gotten rid of Jennifer.
Well, it's like they think that
wasn't good. Right? She didn't do very good either.
The stupid thing is that I think that they think that by having 3 finalists, it's like cooler and it's like more epic, and it's like, no, just having 2 really good finalists is the most epic thing you can do.
Yeah, we've been watching Worst Cooks. That's what they do.
Like Rocky.
Just 2 finalists.
Rocky versus Apollo. Not Rocky versus Apollo and someone else. Rocky versus Apollo. Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus. Not Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus and your mom.
No. So anyway, I just it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I guess I just give it a, I don't know. It was very, I'm not saying that this last challenge was any walk in the park. It was very difficult. Because he's just so quick at doing everything he does, and especially if they've never done it before. But it was 2 sauces, the chocolate sauce, the cherry sauce, and then you had to do the thing with the cauliflower. Jennifer's was too runny, and she probably overcooked the cauliflower. You don't cook it that long because it's really not that dense. And then
she left stuff off the plate too. By the way,
hers was bad. Hers and Reagan's, they were both bad. But Reagan was just, it looked like it was a mess.
I give the semifinal an F because I just felt like it reminded me of Dark Winds season 2's finale, where they killed the bad guy in the opening scene of the episode in the finale. That's what it reminded me of. Getting rid of Wayne that quickly. After, he did so well with that restaurant thing, and then they just get rid of him.
Yeah. Very disappointing. I'll just give it a C.
Because you're excited to see her master crush.
No, I don't think she's going to
get in the finale.
It. But I'm glad she got the chance. But still, it was at the expense of Wayne. But I didn't like Wayne at first. Neither one of us did. We thought he was a show-off, and he showed.
Well, he was, and then he learned really quickly that he couldn't be like that anymore.
Right, and he actually learned from his mistakes, I thought, except he always did overdo it. And I think that's what happened. His pasta, when he made that pasta dish, I think he overdid it, and he couldn't complete it. Or, he left like he didn't season it enough, and because he just had too much, and he completed that part, but he just didn't finish it off in a good way. And he didn't have the sauce. And you couldn't eat that kind of a thing without having sauce. They were big, like I said, for this episode, they were really big on sauce of every kind. So I've never heard of eating venison with...
Would you like to eat...
Cake. Basically a cake. German chocolate cake.
Hey, Safi.
What?
Would you like to eat your Master Crush's sauce?
I don't
Uni butter sauce?
I don't care.
What is uni butter sauce? What the hell is that?
I've never heard of that. I don't know. Like I said, you live in a schoolie, you do van life camping, you do all kinds of weird stuff, but you don't buy fish eggs.
Ew!
You don't do that.
I've tried those before, and
oh God, just thought about it just makes me want to vomit.
Want to throw up.
I don't think, and if truth be told, I don't think any of those people had a lot of experience with caviar.
You can't even really do very much with caviar because it's already...
what it is.
It's already there. Like, you just put it on shit.
Yeah. Serve it on crackers. So anyway, like I said, I give it a C. Marco gave it, an F?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next week. At least it will be just one episode, right?
Mm-mm.
Ugh.
It's a 2-part finale.
Oh, God. Yeah, that probably makes sense. So I'm not really looking for it. I'll be glad when it's over, because it's been, to have to watch these, it isn't just the show itself, it's the fact that they have these 2 episodes.
What's funny, though, is that after this is over, we're going to have to watch Chucky and American Horror Story every Wednesday. So it's just going to be like Masterchef Part 2. Because it's 2 episodes of TV. Because of the bad scheduling.
Somebody's not going to be happy about that, but too bad. At least it's not a football night. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and excuse Marco, and become one of our subscribers, and tell us what you think about these dishes. And if you've been watching it, what do you think about the contestants and about the outcome of who's in the final, anyway? And anything else you want to talk about. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye!